The Winnipeg Jets lose to the Edmonton Oilers tonight by a score of something to something because we're shooting this between the second and the third period. And I can tell you right now, Jets fans, Oiler fans, it's not curmudgeon-y. The Oilers have this game in the bag. The Jets look like they're skating in sand. The Jets look like a team that did not show up today. They look like a team that's tired and a team that's going to go to press conferences with a million excuses again. And the Oilers look crisp. They look tight. They're led by their leader, McDavid. They're led by one of the NHL's best in Leon Draisaitl. And Mikko Koskinen decides to finally show up. So, if you're in a slump, the key, play the Jets. Connor McDavid hasn't had a 3-point night since December 1st. Remember the McDavid watch, Oiler fans? We were all over the fact that McDavid was outpacing Gretzky in the first 25 games. It was awesome. We all knew he couldn't really do it. It was really just kind of a fun thing to look at. I mean, I was hoping for it. I'm always hoping for greatness, and I'm always hoping for McDavid, but he slows down. He comes back to earth. He plays the Jets. 3-point night. Hey, what a way to get out of a slump, if you can call the NHL's leading point getter in a slump. But for McDavid, it kind of was. So the Winnipeg Jets end up getting him out of that. Mikko Koskinen's been hot, not losing once in his last 5 games. He's been 4-0-1. He's had the .930 save percentages, but it's slowly come back down to Mikko Koskinen numbers. I've said it again. I'll double down again. I don't think he's a very good goalie. Sorry, Oilers fans. He's not the answer. You're not going to win a cup with Koskinen. Go ahead, take that one to the bank. Let the comments roll below. And while you're here, we like any comments. Doesn't matter if they're negative, if they're positive, if they're good or they're bad. Give a good thumbs up for Coach Ryan D. Any engagement on the video is fantastic. We love having Oiler and Jets fans here. I love this rivalry. It's the best. But Koskinen, he's not a great goalie. Ever since Evander Kane has come over to Edmonton, there's been a coaching change in Dave Tippett. Mikko Koskinen has found his confidence again. And I mean, everybody should be confident playing in front of the roster that the Oilers have, especially with those players. And it looks like he's having another great game tonight against Winnipeg. So he was in a little bit of a slump, having an 889 last game and a 903 the game before, which you can say, okay, one went to overtime, one he won. We're not too worried. It's all about wins. You'd really like your goalie, if you're going to win a Stanley Cup, to be around a 920 or better. So this is going to bump him back up to that. The question about Koskinen is it sustainable, Oilers fans? We're not sure. Well, you aren't sure. I'm sure. It's not. It's not going to happen. That's my thought. So both of them get a massive confidence boost against the Jets. And when we're talking about the Jets here, you can see Kevin Sawyer said it the best. They're winning a lot of silver medals to puck races. That's pretty funny. I thought it was hilarious. Sometimes he nails it. So Sawyer goes ahead on TSN and says silver medals to puck races is because the Jets were slow. They were slow all game. They're beat in every category. By the end of the second, it was 28-16 in shots for the Oilers, and the Jets had a plethora of power plays. Not really many shots on them. We'll get to that in a second. The only category that the Jets beat the Oilers in was hits. And this isn't the playoffs, people. In the playoffs, when you're playing a 7-game series, laying the bod is going to really help you wear down your opponent. In the regular season, when you're playing as many games as the Jets are, you're playing home, you're playing away, you're on the road, there's COVID. It's only the regular season, so you're just not as jacked up as the playoffs. You go ahead and lay a bunch of bod, and it's just not going to win you the game. It's not the way the game's won in the regular season anymore. Playoffs, totally different. It's won with speed, and it's won on the transition. And the Oilers, the best transition team in the NHL. They always have been. They always will be, as long as they have McDavid and Draisaitl. It's just speed. Speed kills you up the ice. I mean, if the Oilers had a permanent solution in goal that was really solid, it would be a totally different team that we would be talking about. It wouldn't be Calgary that we'd be talking about in the West as the darling of the West. It would be the Oilers. But unfortunately, Oiler fans, it's the Flames. So the Jets end up with a blessing to start this game. A 5-on-3 power play 5 minutes in. And you know how many shots they get? 0. You've heard Coach Ryan D say this before. You only need 1 shot on a 5-on-3. You don't take random shots. You look for the shot and you make sure you put it in the back of the net. I would love to break down this 5-on-3 for you and show you why it was completely wrong by the Winnipeg Jets, because it was completely wrong, but I can't because they didn't take any shots, meaning there's nothing on the highlight reel, meaning there's nothing I can pull to even give you an example of this play. And that is frustrating. And the reason they didn't get shots wasn't because they were looking for the perfect one. It's because their setup sucked. The Oilers did a good job of killing this. I don't want to take anything away from a team that kills a 5-on-3, but in my experience as a coach, when you don't score on a 5-on-3, it's the offense failing, not the defense succeeding. All the defense is trying to do is survive. So the Oilers did their job, checkbox, they survived. The Jets set up in an umbrella or a 1-3-1. If you want to know what those mean or a power play means, stay tuned to the end of the video. I'm going to drop a link at the end so you can see what makes a good power play and you can catch up. They run an umbrella and they run a 1-3-1. The umbrella is old as sin. Like, this is a really old power play system that just needs to go away. And the 1-3-1 is used for a 5-on-4, not a 5-on-3. A 5-on-3, it's a box plus one. It means you want to make a square around the net and put a guy in the middle. He's your linchpin that you can make little cross ice passes to, so you can go ahead and find the angles to get the right shot. But the Jets run an umbrella. That means you put two people in front of the net, you put a point man up top, and you put two shooters in the shooter position on the far circles. But that's too easy to defend on a 5-on-3. Like, give me a break, Lowry. What are you telling these players to do? Or what are the players doing? This was stupid. All you need to do is make a box and put a guy in the middle. It is very hard to defend. The reason the box plus one has worked for 20 years is because no one has found a better way to defend it. You go ahead, you put two players 4 feet out from the goal line. You put them a foot in front of the goal line, 4 feet out. Then you put two players near the blue line, same distance away, and you put a guy in the middle of the ice, and you start making simple, sure thing passes. You don't go for home run passes unless the lane is open, because you don't want to turn the puck over, and you start making simple passes to start collapsing the box closer and tighter together to when you can finally hit a backdoor and score. It's not rocket surgery here, people. But nope, let's use something that doesn't work in the NHL anymore and isn't even possibly considered on a 5-on-3. Nice work. And don't forget that this video on Hot Garbage Sports is sponsored by BetUS. Canadian and US citizens can go ahead and join BetUS using the code HGS. All proceeds go to support Coach Ryan D and this channel, making more content for you. You get a 125% initial deposit bonus if you're new to BetUS. You can go ahead and do it up to a maximum of $2,500. I'm on there. I think it's a really fun way to enjoy the game. Keep gambling recreational and make sure you are over the age of majority in your state or your province. So they lose puck battles. They're here to a 5-on-3. What ends up happening with goals in this game? Well, they end up scoring on the power play. Zach Hyman puts one in. He had a really good game, but also you can see the defensive forward was getting really frustrated taking a couple penalties that aren't really in Zach Hyman's wheelhouse, but it doesn't matter because the Jets couldn't capitalize on him anyway. Kailer Yamamoto in the second torches the Jets on a transition play. This is where you could see it was slow. I saw this goal coming from a mile away. Now what you see here is the Jets pressuring before this goal happens. Anytime a team pressures and misses far and wide and wraps it around the net, and it's a very close, like you should have scored, it always goes in the back of your net. Every time. It's not just the Jets, it's any. Wheeler misses the net high and wide, which is not what you want to do, and then they try to seal it on the boards with a pinch. Pionk pinches here. You do not pinch unless you are 100% to get the puck. He was not 100% to get the puck. He should have seen that he had three players down low and hemmed in. You back out. This is not the time to get aggressive. It does not matter. If it's a 50-50 puck battle, you do not pinch. You've heard me say it on the channel. Your dad would have said, take the man or the puck. No. Puck. If you can't get puck, back out, wait, contain, wait for help. Don't go ahead and go forward because this is what happens. You have three players in front of four. It's a 3-on-1 at this point. This could have been a 5-on-1 or a 4-on-1 at this point because four Jets players are caught because of a terrible pinch and missing high and wide. The Oilers break out with that speed that I'm telling you about, and it's Connor McDavid again leading the rush. And what makes David so special is the fact that not only is he strong enough to keep a checker like this off his back, but he's actually better at slowing down and speeding up with a puck than anyone is in the league. So you can see he changes his speed, and that skill of Yamamoto ends up banking it in. Hellebuyck should have had that one, but it's really tough on a goalie when you have that kind of speed coming down at you. There was a whole host of things that went wrong there, and it's just because the Jets' decision-making was 2 steps behind today. And you know why it was 2 steps behind? Because they're tired, because all their games got canceled because of COVID, because of this, because of that. Excuse, like this isn't your job and you're not making millions of dollars and everybody else in the world isn't really suffering and having an extremely hard time. Maybe they should take their vehicles to the ledge and protest the schedule. Jeez la freaking wheeze. Winnipeg, come on, guys. You get paid to do this professionally. And look, it's just a single loss. I understand that. But they have put themselves into such a hole with plays like this all year that they are in a must-win scenario on this. So they have to do something that's completely unrealistic, which is beat the Edmonton Oilers and win a whole bunch of games in February at home when they're exhausted, when they really don't have a very fair schedule at this point because the Jets wanted to make more money and postpone the games instead of playing in front of 0 fans. Because again, let's go on another tirade, True North. Money is great and all. It is wonderful, but what's better than money is winning. Winning brings more money. So the short-term impact of, no, we can't have fans in the stands. We hate it so much. We're the True North guys. and it's just not fair and we're losing money in a small market. They are owned by Canada's richest billionaire. Shut the fuck up. They do not play and they postpone their games in the Omicron variant because they don't want to play without fans at home. You heard Maurice say it, the players say it. Playing in front of fans isn't fun. If there's no fans in the stands, what's the point? The point is it's your job and you make $1 million to $10 million a year to do it. That's the point. You want fans, you want money, you want it all. And if you don't get it all, you're going to take your ball and go home. Too many people in the last 2 years have been focused on themselves, taking their ball and going home and using these bullshit excuses to just say, well, sorry, I lost. Meanwhile, the people who are, let's say, putting on their boots, their work pants, getting out there and getting it done instead of complaining about things they can't control, they're winning. They're winning. It's just the way life goes, folks. This is Western society. You are supposed to make choices of the choices you can make. You don't get an unlimited supply of choices. You don't get an unlimited supply of options, Jets. You only get the options that are given to you. So your choice was, maybe we should play in Saskatchewan. Maybe we should cancel the games because we need short-term money. And then let's go ahead because we're in this difficult position that we were in January and put a whole host of games together in February and maybe it'll work out. And by the way, we won't go ahead and make any trades and we won't make any moves and Kevin Cheveldayoff is going to outlast David Poile in the general manager chair. I'm fine. It's all fine. I'm going to go ahead and throw up on the screen the odds of the playoffs with the Jets being 4 games back because I've read this a few times. The Jets are only 2 games back. They're only 3 points back. Look, they're making up ground. They are not making up ground. I don't know how many times I have to say this on the channel. I don't know how many times I have to drop it into groups for people to understand math. Guys, it's math. If you don't get math, trust people that understand math. If you didn't do super well in it in school, that's fine. You actually don't need it to survive in the real world because there's a whole bunch of smart people out there that can do it for you. The problem is you're all fact checking yourselves and not thinking this through. And I'm only talking about hockey. Being 2 games back is a very long way back. And now they are 3 games back because they just lost to the Oilers. Advanced analytics have the Jets 84% not to make the playoffs. So yes, mathematically it's there, but it is incredibly hard to catch 2 games in the NHL at this point in time in your own division, especially when you're losing to teams like Dallas and Edmonton, who you are chasing. It's just the way it goes. So there are some truth bombs there for you. Edmonton is looking good, and we're going to be covering them as well as everybody else as the playoffs heat up. So we have the Jets bias, but as the Jets step back, we're going to keep our Jets coverage going because I love them. I'm never not going to be a fan. That's why I wear the jerseys. I'm not going to change. We're going to go ahead. We'll cover the Oilers, cover the Flames. We'll talk about the Leafs. And as everything starts getting ramped up, we'll start taking a look at the better teams that are going there. But Edmonton fans, you got to look pretty happy with this after the sweep. Who cares about the sweep last year? That was last year's news. This year's news is you beat the Jets. You got Evander Kane, who is apparently the answer to all of your problems. I don't think it will be. Koskinen's gotten hot again. I don't think he'll stay that way, but McDavid and Draisaitl can still take you as far as you need to go, especially with a guy like Darnell Nurse. There's a new coach behind the bench. I love what Woodcroft is doing. I mean, he's talking to his players. He coaches like I coach. I can't be the head coach behind the bench, just stoically crossing my arms and letting my assistants do the coaching. I got to do the coaching. That's just my style. It's the way it works. So I really dig what this guy is doing in Edmonton. I love the journeyman approach that he's had. I love the 10 years as an assistant. I love the 4 years as a head coach in the AHL. I hope this guy sticks. I'm really cheering for him. Dave Lowry, he ain't sticking. Somebody asked me in a comment to say, hey, Coach Ryan D, what's the difference between Paul Maurice and Dave Lowry? Salary. That's it. Dave Lowry is a product of the Paul Maurice system. He really hasn't changed much. He's changed a couple minor things here and there that I could go ahead and discuss. But at the end of the day, Charlie Huddy, Dave Lowry, Jamie Compon, they all got to go. And I like them. I like Jamie. He just went through a horrendous event with his wife. He's a fantastic guy. I think Huddy stinks, but I don't know Huddy personally. Maybe he's a great guy. I was cheering for Dave Lowry. I like the father-son thing, but at the end of the day, results-based business, and you can't just replace one guy and expect the culture to change. It's got to start from top to bottom. So that's what's going on in the world of the Oilers and the Jets. Leave a like, leave a comment, join. Hopefully that video got you as fired up as it made me to make it.